This presentation will continue to teach you the marketing principles behind the creation of really great ads. Now remember what we said in our last presentation? As we look at the marketing collateral during this presentation, I want everyone to remember that we're going to be talking on a principle basis here. Ads need to be customized for every individual business. You can't expect them to be cookie cutter, but you can expect them to generate new ideas, new ways to innovate your business, and new ways to position your compelling offers. Now, in our previous presentation, we reviewed this 4-page ad. We call it a 4-page wrapper. This ad contains all 3 criteria that prospects use when they go to make a buying decision: benefits of ownership, objections to ownership, and the vendor selection criteria. This ad tells a personal story, and it does so in a first-person narrative, which adds to the believability of the ad. This ad produced excellent results. The owner wanted this ad to sell 30 sunrooms during the months of November and December, when they typically sold a total of 8. This ad easily achieved that goal of 30 within just a few weeks. The second ad we previously reviewed, this is one that ran in a money mailer. Obviously with this one we don't have as much room as the first ad, but we don't have as huge of a story to tell either. But just like our first ad, the principle of telling the story in a first-person narrative worked here as well. This ad was written to present a compelling case that anyone needing replacement windows would be a fool to buy from anyone else but this company. And it also produced outstanding results. The third ad we reviewed was this Valpak ad. It worked well because it confronts the hot button issue most prospects have, that contractors overall have a bad reputation. They overcome that objection to ownership by conveying their satisfaction first policy, where you don't pay them until after the job is done and you are 100% satisfied with their work. And the final ad we reviewed was a very simple execution of a vendor selection ad. It's not super detailed, it's not hard to read, and it's not a lengthy ad. It has what you might consider to be a lot of text, but it's quick and easy to read text. This ad contains a free personal consultation and includes one of the most powerful phrases any business can use these days. No sales pressure, just helpful information. This all but eliminates one of the biggest objections prospects have when dealing with companies. They hate being sold to. This is an ad that, well, while fairly simple, worked really well. This ad ran in the newspaper for a while, and I happen to know it worked great. Now again, I want to remind you as we review additional ads that we're working on a principle basis here. I did not just tell you to take these ads, run right out to the marketplace, and use them. I said, principally speaking, these ads work well when used at the right time, in the right place, and when placed in front of the right prospects. So let's look at some additional ads that have worked well and analyze what made them so successful. This ad is what we call a two-sided giveaway. This can be made into a door hanger, or it could be used at home shows. It can be used in a variety of situations. It's essentially a two-sided flyer. In this case, the business elected to use a $20,000 bill, but the bill can be any denomination. This ad is designed to be 7.3 inches wide by 17 inches tall. And when you have a dollar bill that is that huge, it's a major interrupter. And I like this because you interrupt people with the huge bill on the one side, and then you've got the sales message, or marketing message, if you will, on the other side. Now, from a standpoint of just looking at the marketing message, we've got a good headline. Save $20,000 to $100,000 by building or remodeling your home yourself. We'll help you every step of the way. We've got some introductory text, and we've got some frequently asked questions. The familiarity level with this type of service, where they help people build or remodel their own homes, is relatively low. So we go into heavy benefits of ownership. We don't spend a lot of time on vendor selection. See, we don't say, hey, here's how we're better than other people that help you build or remodel your own home. This is more of a low familiarity, high benefit of ownership ad. But again, let's look at this ad through a principle-based approach. We've got a good offer at the bottom for an information kit, including a picture of the kit. But I like this ad more for its ability to interrupt than anything else. Because let's face it, a $20,000 bill is going to grab most prospects' attention. It plays upon the curiosity factor. Perhaps there are places where you can use something just like this, whether it be in a home show or in a door-hanging, door-knocking type environment, or maybe a canvassing opportunity where you're at some kind of event where there's a lot of people and you can hand these things out. You could even try using these in the mail. This ad would work well in any of these situations. Now let's go on to our next ad. I like this ad because it too has performed well. It's an interesting utilization of an offer. The headline says, "Wondering what a sunroom would look like on your home?" And we answer the question by using the word stunning. Then we added photographs that confirm that the word stunning is accurate because these are stunning looking sunrooms. Transform your home into a stunning showpiece regardless of its age, style, color, or exterior finish. See, this targets the benefits of ownership. It also addresses the objections to ownership because essentially what we're telling people is, don't worry about it. It's going to look great. And in this particular ad, we didn't go into a heavy incentive offer. We went with an information offer. Hey, are you wondering what your sunroom would look like or what's available in the way of looks and style? Well, let me give you some ideas to consider. Therefore, since you're probably just now getting interested in buying a sunroom based on seeing this ad, well, let me give you an information offer for a free color sunroom idea guide that'll show you dozens of available styles and materials, plus give you an idea of cost and time frames. If we can tell them, hey, let me show you what this is going to cost, let me give you some ideas and some time frames to completion, then that's going to be beneficial and compelling. It's actually going to make people want the guide even more than just showing them some pictures of sunrooms. And again, this ad works really well. Our next ad is the classic Yellow Pages ad. Yellow Page ads appeal to now buyers, and therefore it's heavy on vendor selection criteria, and it needs to really hone in on why we're better than everyone else. Now again, the principles here are very simple. We've got benefits of ownership, objections to ownership, and vendor selection. In a Yellow Pages environment, it's important that we understand that our prospects already know they want a roof. We just got to convince and compel them to buy from us and to believe that we're the best choice. So we use this headline, 7 things you should know before you hire any roofing contractor. And then we talk about what those 7 things are. Plus, we talk about them in enough detail that it's believable. Now, this goes back to the principle of telling the story and giving evidence and examples like we discussed earlier. Look at the photo on this ad. Notice that unlike every other roofing company ad, we don't have a bunch of pictures of roofs. We have a picture of a concerned homeowner because that's what you should be, concerned, based on what you're about to learn when you read this ad. This picture goes very well with this headline. Let's look at some of the details in this ad. For instance, item number 4 says, no money up front, ever. Does the roofer require money up front? Some roofers require a $1,000 or more deposit before working. Every year, some roofers run off and burn the homeowner. Don't pay any money up front ever. A financially stable roofer does not need your money in advance. Now see how we explained the basic details to them in these 7 areas. When the ad talks about low-grade materials, we give the prospect information about plywood and sheeting. And that's stuff that they probably won't know about or understand, but it convinces them of the honesty of this company because they have the ethics and integrity to point this stuff out. It also arms the prospects with the in-depth knowledge they need to confront other roofers by inquiring about these 7 critical areas. where they quickly discover that none of the competitors meet the exacting standards as our client. This is a great implementation of a vendor selection ad. It's a large ad because we want to put as much information at the point of contact as we possibly can. And this ad does a good job of that. On the right-hand side of the ad, you'll see there's some vendor selection information, how JP Construction overcomes all these problems and more to deliver the right job on time, no hidden costs, guaranteed. And then they talk about some of the things that they do, like they have a full-time admin available for contact, no hidden costs, no deposit required. So you might want to emulate an ad like this if you use Yellow Page advertising. All right, here's another ad that ran in a magazine. I like this ad because it's interesting. It tells a story again, but it's an objection to ownership ad that tackles a tough problem for Windows, which is that window companies actually have a tough time getting their target market to believe that they actually need their product. I mean, this isn't like trying to convince somebody that has a 22-year-old car that gets 8 miles per gallon and has huge emission problems that they need a new car. With a car that's old and ugly, it's obvious that you need a new car. Well, with Windows, not so much. The problem is that a lot of people don't realize that their windows are causing them problems because, after all, it's just a piece of glass. It sits there. What's the problem? Well, this is a way to engage them. The number one cause of high energy bills is crummy windows. I also like this word crummy. It's not crass or over the top, but it's a word that's unusual, so it's got some reticular activator power to it all by itself. It helps people understand the nature of their problem, crummy windows. And then we immediately hit the next objection through the subheadline. And it's not just windows with poor seals that leak. The bigger problem is cheap glass with inadequate coatings. Now, these are things that people probably don't know about, but in the context of that subheadline, they can understand what's going on. And as you look into this ad, here's what you're going to see. You're going to see us use the storytelling principle again. Let me actually read you this story. It says, last week, I was at my friend Mark's home. He was complaining that his energy bills were killing him, averaging well over $500 a month for the summer. Well, it's a big house. I took a quick look at his windows and could easily tell that his expensive home had been built with cheap builder-grade windows. In layman's terms, that means the builder put crummy windows in the home. As we talked about the problem, it became evident that Mark thought his crummy window problem meant that the seals were leaking. He said he'd never heard wind whistling through them, even when it was really blowing hard outside. Then it dawned on me. My friend Mark, who's a really smart guy, didn't realize that the kind of glass used in a window is the biggest determining factor of whether a window will suck money out of your pocket for energy bills or not. Seals are indeed important, but the glass is the biggest part of the equation. Now, do you guys see how I'm giving the prospect information? And I'm doing it using a reasonably interesting story format. Now, let's continue. The coatings on the glass can make your windows literally 50 times more efficient. I pointed out to Mark that most of the energy was going straight through the glass in his windows because they weren't properly coated during the manufacturing process. Most windows these days have some kind of invisible microscopic coatings applied that helps them insulate your home. The process of coating costs money, of course, and most people prefer not to spend money. That's why most of the windows on the market are only coated once or twice and only provide minimal protection. Our windows are different. They undergo 12 separate coatings that make them more efficient than you would ever imagine. The process is called Omega 12. We conducted an experiment with the various kinds of windows and a heat lamp and measured the heat that was transferred through with a BTU meter, kind of like a high-tech thermometer. Here are the results. A regular window, like my friend Mark's, measured about 120 BTUs. Not good. It's very easy to see why he's getting killed on his bills. A high-end triple pane window measured only 21 BTUs. Very good. But those windows are very expensive. Our windows with the Omega 12 measured 2 BTUs, best on the planet. Let me put it to you this way. You might as well have styrofoam in your windows if you want this kind of protection. And then we go into the offer. It's a good ad. It has a good, believable story that's interesting to read. And the reason we went in depth on the BTU measurements is we understand that the prospect doesn't know how to interpret these results. So we just did it for them. And see how throughout this story, I'm not telling you, the reader, about any of this. I told my friend this. It's more compelling and believable when the prospect is reading a third-party account. So keep these principles in mind when you create your own marketing. Now let's move on to the next ad. This is another Yellow Pages ad. As such, it's heavy on vendor selection criteria. Now, unlike the one that we saw a minute ago for the roofing company, this ad is smaller, so we don't have a lot of room. So let's talk about how we can make a smaller ad as powerful as possible. Let's take a look at the headline. Now, I like this headline for a Yellow Pages ad. Trust the company that has installed over 17,000 windows in the western Chicago suburbs of Naperville. Well, guess where this ad is going to be distributed? Yep, the western Chicago suburbs of Naperville. Now, does 17,000 sound like a lot of windows to you? Because it does to me. So we've got social proof working for us here. Then the subheadline says, here's how we've earned their trust. And we go through some of the things that we do. Now, it's a bullet checklist. And then on the right, we talk about our warranties and guarantees. But this ad, with these few little headlines and social proof tweaks, makes a typical bullet list that much more powerful. The ad looks good, and it performs well. Next, we've got a check mailer. Now, I don't really want to go through the content of the ad as much as I want to just point out the power of the check mailer itself. Savvy business owners use these quite a bit, and they're very powerful and effective. They use them as direct mailers into select neighborhoods or as radius mailers for jobs that they've done as a way to get their neighbors. You can use them to pass out to your customers. There's a lot of uses for check mailers, and I'd like to encourage you to think about them and how you might be able to use them. Now let's look at this one, and I'll explain how to use it. Notice the check is for $500. It says, we just replaced Ron and Joyce Severson's windows on Round Hollow Lane. We'd like to offer you a good neighbor discount if you do the same. The attached check above is worth up to $500 off your replacement window purchase. And then we go through some of the benefits of ownership since we're trying to generate interest in our product. Now, there are a lot of different ways you could use this and tell different stories in the body copy. But I really like the idea of using these checks. Then be sure to get your message across by telling a story, make it personable, and use some of the other principles that we've discussed. Now, our next ad is a great ad for a remodeling company. Notice that it says, looking for a truly unique remodeling project? Let us send you a free design portfolio with ideas and photos of 44 of our most innovative projects. The idea here is that when somebody is thinking about remodeling, very rarely are they going to be in pick up the phone right now mode. Now buyers would definitely be interested in this design portfolio. Notice how we position this company as a unique remodeler, a high-end remodeler, an upscale remodeler. The design accents would suggest that this is indeed a high-end remodeler and not a low-end one. And the offer is immediate and obvious. Let us send you a free design portfolio, and then as you go down, visually at the bottom right-hand corner, there's a picture of the design portfolio. And there's a very specific, easy to see, easy to read, and easy to understand offer. We've got a subheadline that also helps to enhance the position of this company, or that this company wants to get out into the marketplace. And that is, if you want an average remodeling job that looks just like your neighbor's, we'll call another contractor. If you want a drop-dead gorgeous home that your friends will rave about, call Custom Design and Construction. So see how they position themselves as we're the company that's going to do a high-end, unique job that's going to be special? And that's because this company, which is out in Los Angeles, very specifically and to the point, does some really high-end, really nice work when it comes to home remodeling. And that's why this ad was written and presented this way. Now, a sister ad to this is for a pool company. Remember how in the past I've stressed to all of you that you can find ads in one industry and simply recreate them for your business? This is a prime example of that. It's why I included this pool ad in this presentation. The reason we want to go so heavily and so quickly into the design portfolio offer for the remodeling company and now for this pool company is simply to get people to engage with us. We're trying to capture the future buyers, knowing that the now buyers will also be intrigued, interested, and motivated by this offer as well. This is actually the original ad that was written before the remodeling version of it. Looking for a truly unique pool design? Let us send you a free idea book with photos of the 77 coolest pools we've ever built. Now think about this for a minute. This is an ad that was originally targeted to go in the RSVP deck, which is kind of like a Val pack, but it's a high-end Val pack. It targets higher-end homes that are getting a very nice-looking stack of printed postcards. Their original ad had just a plain Jane-looking pool, and it basically said, call us if you need a pool. And that was their offer. On the front of this ad, we immediately positioned them as unique. And the idea book is immediately positioned as the offer. On the back, you'll see the headline is similar to the previous ad. If you want a big rectangle full of water in your backyard, call someone else. If you want a drop-dead gorgeous pool that your friends will rave about, call Mirage. See, it's a great ad. But can you see how this ad can be leveraged to cover a multitude of different businesses and industries? If you own a landscape company, the headline could say, looking for a truly unique landscaping design? Let us send you a free idea book with photos of the 40 most neighbor-envied projects we've ever designed. Then the back would say, if you want a tree and some flowers representing your yard, call someone else. If you want a drop-dead gorgeous yard that your neighbors will envy, call Landscape Plus. So look through these ads and see what you can take out of them for your business. And by the way, I know I'm moving rather fast through these, but I wanted to cover a multitude of ads so you really get a feel for the value that we've created for you in your ad library. Now next up is a letter. And this is an interesting way to approach a very specific target market that you want to hit. Now this is from Kip Lee, and that's the same guy that sent the sunroom ad. Listen to this story, and it's an interesting way to engage a prospect using a story. Last year, more four-season sunrooms were built in zip code 29909 than anywhere else in the country. Now guess where this letter is being sent? People in zip code 29909. Now this is an older retirement type of community. Now I don't know if it would make them feel proud that they buy a lot of sunrooms there, but it will at least be an interesting fact, wouldn't it? So this year I've convinced the factory to offer a special discount pricing for all Sun City residents. Now remember that as I read the rest of this letter, the principle here is we're relating to them through a story. Dear John, if you've been thinking about adding a sunroom addition to your home, then you're in luck. I mean literally, you're lucky. Reason? Because you happen to live in the most active sunroom building community in the entire country. Last year, my company, Coastal Empire Exteriors, built 131 sunrooms in Sun City. Out of over 330 Four Seasons dealers and 42,000 zip codes, no other single zip code in the country even came close to building 100 sunrooms, let alone 131. The reason we build so many rooms is simple. Our customers are thrilled with the job we do, and they refer us to their friends. Chances are excellent that one of your friends or neighbors has a four-season sunroom. Now, and by the way, that's an absolutely true statement, because in addition to the 131 sunrooms they built the previous year, they built 600 to 700 others in this community of maybe 7,000 to 8,000 homes. So literally 10% of the homes in this entire area already have one of their sunrooms. Now, pay close attention to this subheadline. I got a crazy idea while buying Applejack cereal that will save you money. Now, this is a great subheadline. It gets people thinking, Applejack cereal? What? Huh? I got to read this to find out what this guy's talking about. So here's the next paragraph. I know this might sound kind of silly, but one day I was at the grocery store buying cereal. My 2-year-old son, Alexander, just loves Apple Jacks. Like most people, I always buy the biggest box because it's cheaper to buy things in bulk. As I compared the prices of the various sizes, the thought hit me. If Sun City buys the highest volume of sunrooms in the country, shouldn't I be able to get a better price for my customers there? I went to the president of the company and insisted that he give me the best customers in the country, the best pricing in the country. Now, can you see how we've got all kinds of social proof and authority going on here? I mean, it's ridiculous. As soon as I got home, I called Peter Allen, president of Four Seasons Corporate, and explained how we had built 131 sunrooms in Sun City just last year. I asked him if that was tops in the country. Now, he said he didn't have the exact numbers, but he was positive that 131 was tops by at least 50 sunrooms. And then we go to the second page. Now, again, we're telling a story here, folks. Then I told him I wanted to consider giving you a better price than the rest of the dealers because of the bulk buying concept. And I told him how Applejacks does it, and so should he. He asked me how many sunrooms I thought we'd build next year. I told him it'd be 200. The numbers struck him hard. That's more sunrooms in one zip code than 99% of his dealers build in a year, period. He agreed that an extra incentive would indeed be appropriate. As a result, over the last 2 months, we've been developing a program to give a $1,000 manufacturer's gift card to all Sun City residents. The card is simple to use. We'll give you our regular low price, and then you use the gift card on top of our lowest price. The factory will reimburse us. So the net effect is you get to save more money. This gift card is only redeemable by Sun City residents. It's non-transferable to friends and relatives outside of this zip code. Please understand, we cannot make this special offer to people outside of Sun City per my agreement with the factory. But if you're thinking about buying a sunroom, please don't hesitate to call us and discuss the project. Now, this is a great letter that produced great results. It's flattering. It's got a high level of social proof. It's got a high level of authority. It tells a story. It's first person. It's got examples. It's just a great letter that you could emulate for your target market. Now, your story will have to be different. But the point here is not to say, look, here's an Applejack story. The point is to say, here's an interesting story that relates to the prospects that gives them a tangible and easy to understand benefit. Okay, we're getting in the home stretch now. This ad contains another mega irresistible offer. We talked about that earlier, something you might want to consider putting together. This ad is for an AV company. It's a home theater company, so a little bit different than windows and siding and sunrooms, but the principle is still the same, and we saw it already implemented into the sunroom company earlier. This is a company that took all of the things that they put into a home and they put little pictures of them on the postcard. It's a comparison of what you get in a Beazer home versus a competitor's home. It shows the TV, the speakers, the switches, the receiver, the DVD player, the CD changer, the remote controls and the units that go with it, along with the jacks. It's just a great visual representation. So here's the principle we can pull out of this. Can you visually represent what you do that's unique, that's good, that's a lot, that's maybe mega irresistible when compared to your competitors, which is, according to the bottom of this ad, puny, unimpressive, and downright embarrassing. I like this postcard. It's very, very effective. People look at it, and it's visually interesting to look at. They look at it and say, what is all this stuff? And then, of course, on the back of this postcard, that's where we'll put an explanation. But take a look at this. We've got an ad that is actually a van. And I would like to encourage those of you with service vehicles to turn them into mobile advertisements. Let's examine a couple of principles at work that we've got here. We've got a lot of color going on. This is something that's going to get people's attention just by the way it looks. Interesting colors. It's got a nice design on it. The yellow and blue, they contrast very nicely. We've got a headline, ugly roof, leaky roof. Then we've got a phone number that's a vanity number. We've got a coupon on the front panel. This has a great-looking graphic representation of a beautiful home. We've got the positioning statement, the last roof you'll ever buy. Now, I want you to take away from this the fact that you can make your vehicles into a marketing piece for you. These vehicles get noticed like crazy, and I would strongly encourage you to think about doing something similar. Look what this plumber did to his van. Now that will grab your attention, wouldn't you agree? Now, don't cheap out on this and put a little decal or logo on your vehicle unless that's absolutely the best you can do. Start small if you have to. If you've got 5 trucks, do it with just one and see what results you get. Now be sure you can track the leads that you get from your vehicle marketing so you can measure your ROI. And last but certainly not least, let's look at this postcard. I like this postcard for a couple of different reasons. It's got high visibility. It's yellow and black, which makes it easy to see. And let's read this. We convinced the insurance company to triple their offer. Talk to Castro Roofing before doing anything. Specializing in commercial roofing, and so on. It's got bullet points to draw attention. It tells a story. Get 150 to 200% more than the insurance company offers. And as you look down into this just a little more carefully, you'll see that we've got plenty of examples. And the examples are evidence that supports our case. It basically says that we really do get more money from insurance companies. Here are some results we've been able to get. In 2007, they offered $74,000. We got $223,000. They offered $188,000. We got $378,000. They offered $314,000. We got $787,000. They offered $100,000. We got $225,000. They offered $21,000. We got $66,000. These are credibility enhancers, gang. So there you go. I would strongly recommend you review this webinar again using the replay once we post it and extract the principles out of each one like we discussed. Listen, learn them, and then apply them to your own marketing. But as I encouraged you at the beginning of this call, become aware of all the various kinds of ads that you encounter, whether it's your mailbox, newspaper, radio, TV, or anything else marketing related, and start becoming a connoisseur of advertisements. And if you want to be a real nerd about it, you could do what I used to do in my early days, which is build a library in a spiral notebook and take them out and write notes on them and really become a student of marketing. That's what this is all about, taking it to the next level by becoming a student of the craft. And hopefully you'll do that. And you know, if you will quickly dominate your market. So until next time, here's to your success.